The recent earthquake in Russia was the sixth highest ever registering at 8.8. Yet the damage from that quake and the aftermath have reportedly been minimal.
Emily Kleber from the Utah Geological Survey joining us to learn more about earthquakes and how Utah can be ready when the big one happens. Emily, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for the time.
Okay, well, let's talk about this earthquake first, this 8.8 magnitude earthquake. Give us an idea of how sizable that is, how big that is.
The short answer is it's incredibly big. Earthquakes are often shown on a map as a point. This earthquake is so big that it's better that we think of it over a large area. So this earthquake, the Kamchatka earthquake, occurred on a plate tectonic boundary. And so to compare how large it is, I'll also compare it to our magnitude 5.7 earthquake we had here in Utah in 2020. So the magnitude 8.8 earthquake is almost 1,300 times bigger than that magnitude 5.7 that we had in Utah, but 45,000 times stronger in terms of energy release. The 5.7 earthquake, if we equate it to dynamite, sticks of tons of TNT. The Magna earthquake was about 6,000 tons of TNT of energy release. This magnitude 8.8 earthquake was about 260 million tons. Again, that's 6,000 versus 260 million. So just a huge amount of energy release. And I want to point out the reason that it wasn't widely felt is because there aren't a lot of people that live in this remote part of Russia along the Kamchatka, in the Kamchatka area.
Yeah, a remote area, and remarkably, I guess there wasn't a lot of damage. There wasn't structures, I guess, to take down, and no one really hurt that badly as far as we know. Okay, so let's say there's an 8.8 in Salt Lake in Utah. That would pretty much level us, wouldn't it?
Would cause a lot of damage. But one thing to note is that the geologic setting doesn't allow for that large of an earthquake. We think, based on the geologic record, that the largest magnitude earthquake we can have here in Utah is a 7.7. Now that's still a huge earthquake, and that could equate to up to a minute of strong shaking. For reference, the magnitude 5.7 earthquake that happened in Magna was about 10 seconds of shaking. So it really would cause a lot of damage, specifically here on the Wasatch Front, because most of our economy and population are concentrated along the Wasatch Fault line.
Emily, can you talk to us more about mapping program research? Like, do you guys map what damage could occur in certain places in Utah?
Yeah, I can certainly speak to that. So specifically what we do at the Utah Geological Survey, our mission is to provide timely scientific information about Utah's geologic environment, resources, and hazards. And so what we speak to is what we see in the geologic record. And so, there's a lot of people who think we're crying wolf when it comes to earthquakes and earthquake hazards in Utah. The reason that we know there have been large magnitude earthquakes in Utah is because of what we see in the geologic deposits. So what we do is we dig trenches in the ground along fault zones. The faults have a very specific way that they show up on the surface. And when we dig these trenches, we expose sediments and soils and rocks that have been displaced over time. And then we date those samples and sample those soils so we can understand and bracket when in the geologic past earthquakes have happened. So it can feel pretty unsatisfying to someone who just wants to know when the next earthquake is going to happen. But we're really having the best information possible without having a large magnitude earthquake. That's when we know we would when our earthquake risk will be solidified is when we have that earthquake.
I know we've been working on an early warning system. When I say early warning, gives you just a matter of seconds. Where are we at with that system now?
Yeah, so I know that there was some work passed. We did a preliminary study of what an earthquake early warning system would look like in Utah a few years ago. And just to talk about that system, because it is pretty unique, and it's based on the principle that light faster travels faster than seismic energy. So, for example, with this Kamchatka earthquake that happened in Russia, we knew about it on the other side of the ocean before the seismic waves actually came across the Pacific. So it has to do with proximity. So in Utah specifically, an earthquake early warning system would not be predicting earthquakes. It would just give people a heads up that were people that were farther away from where the earthquake happens, a heads up that they should be expecting shaking. And 10 seconds could really make all the difference because the best thing you can do in the event of seismic shaking is drop cover and hold on. So that would give people enough time to get underneath the desk and ride out the earthquake.
All right, Emily, I appreciate you joining us this morning. Thank you so much for giving us all the info.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
All right, a lot to learn about earthquakes here.
Yeah.
Let's learn about...
It's always kind of in the back of your mind,
Always.
you know. Because
well, especially after your viral earthquake moment when it happened on the morning show.
It's a freaking earthquake.
It's a freaking earthquake.
yeah.